welcome Bradley Cooper.
Good to be back.
How are you?
Great. You know what's so crazy?
Yes.
Is that I was here 2 years ago.
That's right. That's right. What was interesting was that they were happy to see you 2 years ago, but it's different
I think
now.
they're just happy.
They are.
Yeah.
You were here before Hangover came out. So
That's right.
We had seen it. You were promoting it. There was a lot of hope and optimism with the film.
I was so innocent.
Yes. But nobody had any idea that it would go on to become, it's the most successful R-rated film in history.
But to your credit, you really liked it.
I did like it.
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought it was really funny.
You were very supportive.
Obviously, you knew the film was good, but what's happened in the last couple of years in your life? Has it been a noticeable difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be a part of something that's that financially lucrative, everybody benefits, from Todd to me to Zachy to Ed and everybody, to Justin Bartha to Heather Graham. And what it basically did was allowed me the opportunity to try to get bigger projects. You know, I don't think I ever would have gotten this movie Limitless if I hadn't been a part of The Hangover.
Right.
You know,
Limitless was a big success too.
I know, thank God. I don't, you know, that was, you know, we were holding our breath.
Really? Was there anxiety before that?
Oh, God. I remember I got on the plane from New York, and I'd done so much press. I mean, I was, like, at the opening of everything. Well, not the opening, but, like, any talk show, like, just trying to, you know, which I believe is very important. And I got on the plane, and it was like, they were saying it was like a 5-horse race in terms of who would win the box office. Because today, it's all about who takes the weekend. Even if that doesn't really even matter, you know, the public sees it and says, oh, they took the weekend, it's a hit.
Right.
And they said, you know, I was talking to my friend Tucker, and he said, you know, it may come in 5th. You know, Lincoln Lawyer, Paul, and Battle LA, 4th. It may come in 4th. And I thought, oh my God. And then 4 hours later, and I was just sort of sitting back in the plane, and I thought, hey, man, I don't have to be an actor anymore, right? I really didn't think,
Really?
I swear, because I had done I was like on Howard Stern, which is like putting on Kevlar and going into a minefield,
Right.
you know, if you don't want to talk about your personal life, and, you know, doing all these big sort of things. And I just thought, I can't do it anymore. I just thought, I can't do it anymore. Because I also gave everything I had to that movie. I thought, if people don't like it, I don't know what else I can do, you know, just in terms of, you know, being an actor at that moment. And then when the plane landed, right before it landed, the Wi-Fi came on, and all of a sudden, in that period, those 4 hours of that Friday night, all of a sudden there was like a skyrocket, and it said it's going to make, you know, 19 million and win the weekend.
Right.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can never stop acting.
From I'm going to give up acting to I'm going to win the Oscar.
Well, not that, but definitely it was. I'm sad to say it, but I may have shed a tear when I got that email. I remember my head started hitting the side of the plane, going, oh, thank God.
But you cry from joy or relief?
Joy and relief. Because unfortunately, I love what I do so much that I can't imagine doing anything else. So I'd really be screwed.
In the first Hangover, you were in scenes with, and you watched Ed Helms and Zach just take over, right?
Incredible.
In the same thing.
Sorry, I just ate 2 pizzas. That's why I'm burping. I'm like, yep, burp. Yeah, they're great. Burp.
You did the same in this one, right? Were you more
burp a lot in this one? Yes.
Well, a little bit. Were you more confident in Hangover 2?
Oh, no question about it. I would even go as far as to say that I was not confident in the first Hangover, only because I was scared of Phil. Not the other 2 actors. I just thought Phil was a tall order. He was just so cool, and I thought, I'm just not that cool. There's no way that people will believe that I'm Phil. And Todd Phillips, to his credit, really was like, no, man, you're the guy, and just trust me. And I looked at him quite often in the first movie, you know, is this right? Is this kind of? And in the second movie, it just sort of, it was so much easier because I just trusted what I was doing so much more. And I think it shows. I mean, I think all the characters are much more grounded in this movie.
Do you think about that, like conscious choices of the kind of, because you could do comedies and it would be fine, but you're an actor and you're an artist, so you drama and was that part of Limitless, going down that road?
It really was, again, simpler than that, almost thinking, I read this script and I thought, oh my God, the script's incredible. You know, this character is just, to go from A to Z. I play a guy who's an out-of-work writer who all of a sudden takes this drug that opens up all of his brain, and then next thing you know, he's running for office. And how does he go from one to the next? So it was just like a no-brainer. I didn't think oh, let me sort of, you know, have a dichotomy between the comedy I'm doing and this and that. You know, if you start to structure, you know, things that are so out of your control anyway,
right.
You know, because if I had gotten 4 of the movies I auditioned for while I was trying to get Limitless, that would have never happened.
That's the craziness about your business, right? Is that you have to rely on the universe to give you a million breaks and to not give you them.
That's
so you can succeed.
Absolutely. I mean, not to get too personal, but you know, I tried to get Green Lantern, me and Ryan Reynolds, and he got it, and thank God he got it, because I would have been the worst Green Lantern, but the mask would have been on. Anyway,
but, you know,
but my father was sick. My father was sick during that time, and I still remember it was the last summer, and Ryan, who's a really good buddy of mine, was in New Orleans shooting it because the movie got pushed, and I would have been in New Orleans doing the Green Lantern while my father was sick, and it would have been, I don't know, I would have gotten sued by Warner Brothers. Do you know what I mean? Because I would have left.
And your father passed away,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, my father passed away. So, you know, you never know how things are going to wind up, you know.
What do you, I mean, he had a chance to see you become successful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very lucky that way.
And so when we had, I've had a couple actors on talk about how even Matthew McConaughey said when his father passed, he didn't have anybody to send his scripts to anymore. Somebody that he could trust.
That's fine. I would send, my dad would read all my scripts.
Really?
Yeah. He would forget them. I was like, oh, Dad, it's the guy who takes the drug. Oh, the drug, is that the one when they're hungover? He was like, no. And I don't know, by the way, my dad never sounded like an old man like that.
No.
Is that the one? No, he never sounded like that.
What did he think of what happened, the success?
Oh, he was, I mean, the greatest thing, not to talk about too much because I don't want to start crying, but I went back in the actor's studio and where I was at school and he was there, and that was, you know, that was incredible. You know, it was just incredible.
All right, stick around. We're going to find out if Bradley ever really was hungover. This one or that one, and more on Actor Studio. Anthropology with Bradley Cooper right after this.
My name is Bradley Cooper. I'm a second-year actor. My question's regarding Hurly Burly. What was it like to revisit a character, Eddie, after a 10-year hiatus? Did you have new discoveries?
Yeah, it was the first time that I'd done a film of something that I had done a play of.
How you doing, Mr. De Niro? My name is Bradley Cooper. My question is regarding Awakenings.
Back to Bradley Cooper here. You know, inside the Actors Studio, it's such a lovely show for people who really love movies and art. And I love the questions at the end. And then when we started to put it together, holy shit, Bradley Cooper was there. The moment that you got to be on that show, what was that like?
It was so...
I was crying everywhere.
I know, I was crying. It was a crying storm. Yeah, it was... man, it was nuts. I got to tell you, Lipton, who was the dean of the school, asked me to do it 2 years ago. That was before I shot Limitless. It was, and I said, man, thank you, but I got to tell you, I think the people will laugh that I'm even on the show. I think your cards will be this big. It'll be a 10-minute interview.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just would feel like a fraud, like a fool. What would I have to share? And then after I shot Limitless, I remember thinking, because I actually then called him and said, you know what? I'll do it if you want me to do it, because I thought, that's just me worrying about what people think of me.
Right.
It's like, what is the show about? The show is invaluable because I, as a person in that school, when they would come and talk to me, I was always blown away. And if someone had sat in that chair and could share any experience with acting with anybody that I love, I mean, I would love for that to happen. So I thought, I just got out of my own way and I said, you know what? If you want me to do it, I'll do it. And luckily, I was on my way to Thailand. And we had a couple days and we did it. And I was so glad that I did it because it wound up being shockingly emotional for me. And it was actually, it's such a weird thing. It was almost like this is your life. Imagine if like you went in front of like 300, 400 people, you know, half of which you knew, and they just, you know, basically log your trajectory, you know, in public, and you have to look over your life. It's incredible.
It's a living eulogy is what it is.
It is. It's a living eulogy. You're right. It's a living eulogy. That's really well said. And it just struck me, and I actually learned a lot. I've always thought of myself as a lazy person, and just sort of going through that night, I thought, you know what, I'm actually not. It was an interesting realization.
And when you got to ask questions, Sean Penn and De Niro, who you came...
That's just so surreal. I mean, that's just out of control.
And knowing De Niro, even Pacino, those kind of guys, what does that mean to you to be around them? As a performer, never mind just as asking a question.
Right. You mean then or now?
Now.
It's the weird thing about reality. It's like, it's a reality shift. He's a human being now, you know, he's my friend. who I talk to almost every day.
Which one are you talking about?
De Niro.
De Niro,
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? So there's a death that occurs with that because he was this iconic, mythic figure. He literally is one of the major reasons I became an actor. And now he's this guy named Bob that I know. Do you know? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really crazy, but it is also true. It's life. He's a human being like you or me. You know, we're the ones that put these people up on these pedestals.
And from what I
But
understand,
really, he's just an actor.
He works hard though, right? He runs lines with other actors. Like, he's a really hard-working guy.
Yeah, my experience with him was he was unparalleled in his work ethic and his ability to just still love it after 40 years of making movies. I mean, you know, when you do a scene, sometimes let's say you and I are doing a scene, but the way the camera's angled, the camera has to be where you are, so I have to look at a little mark in the camera.
Right.
So you would be behind the camera,
right,
sitting on a wooden box. He would do that, you know, and a lot of actors won't even do that. And he'll do that, and then I would ask him, you know, would you mind, it's an emotional scene, would you mind sort of saying something personal that you know about me, and just basically go off the page and making him work hard to give me something on my coverage, and he would do that all the time.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
He's a generous actor.
Very generous actor.
You impersonate him?
I don't mimic him, but it's impossible. Do you like this, you know, when you're around somebody who you admire and they sort of have this infectious way that they act?
You take on.
You just take it on, you know, and he's just sort of, you know, he just sort of like, you know, he'd be like, I don't know, he's just very like, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah.
How's your Owen Wilson?
Oh, my Owen Wilson. Oh, yeah, he's like, George, really happy to be here. I think it's a great show you have. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. In terms of anthropology, okay, anthropology, who's your hero?
Who's my hero?
Yeah.
Who's my hero? My dad.
All right. It's hard for any man to drive a Mini Cooper. Is it doubly hard for you?
I'll try to find that out. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever been really hungover on a film or drunk?
No, thank God.
Never hungover?
On a film?
Yeah.
On an audition.
Yeah? Did you get the movie?
You know, and I did. And I was beyond hungover. I was probably, if you look at it logistically, still drunk.
Right.
But it was a callback to a movie, and I remember I was so drunk, or hungover, however you put it. It was just the time of day. It happened to be at 12 p.m. the next day. And I remember, and then when I got the call that I got it, I was like, I can do no wrong. And then halfway through shooting the movie, I was in it was in Tampa, Florida. It was a little independent film, and I was like, hey, man, do you remember that callback? And I remember the guy, Morgan, was like, oh, yeah, man, I remember that callback. He goes, we almost didn't hire you. I said, oh, I'm so glad you're telling me this. Wait, tell me. He goes, you first of all, you smelled so bad like alcohol, and we thought maybe that's the kind of guy you were, and we hired you off of your first audition.
Wow.
So I learned a big lesson.
Okay, you're fluent in French as well, right?
Yeah.
What's the sexiest thing you can say to Canada on camera right now?
Canada, vous êtes comme une femme que je tombe amoureux quand je suis jeune.
They knew what that was. Very nice. The Hangover 2 is in theaters tomorrow. Make sure you check it out. Bradley Cooper, everybody. Thank you. Good to see you, man. Thank you, Bradley. Strombo.com is the website. We'll see you next time.